Welcome, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about Avid Ignite. My name is Ivi Kubika, and I'm the Marketing Development Manager here at Avid. I am joined today by Lori Kirkland and Alan Nickerson, the amazing product leads of Avid Ignite, and Mary Ann Sand, our very special guest in today's webinar. Lori Kirkland is the head of digital learning, and Alan Nickerson is the head of teaching and learning here at Avid. Mary Ann Sand, our today's special guest, is the Avid District Director for Irving ISD in Texas. Today, Lori and Alan will be sharing what is new in our next evolution of virtual professional learning and how it can support your school and your professional learning goals. Their presentations will be followed by Mary Ann, who will share how her district will use Avid Ignite together with district-hosted on-site activities to help educators get ready for the year ahead. Towards the end of the webinar, we'll have a Q&A session with Alan, Lori, and Mary Ann, so please post your questions to the Q&A area located at the bottom of your screen throughout the webinar. We will address questions not addressed today in a follow-up email shared after the webinar, and we will include the webinar recording with it. The goals for today are exploring the why of Avid Ignite, sharing an overview of Ignite, exploring Ignite sample schedules, and hearing how one district is using Avid Ignite. And now I would like to invite Alan and Lori to tell us more about Avid Ignite.
Thank you, Evie. Hello, everyone. Lori and I are happy to be with you today to highlight Avid's newest summer professional learning offering, Avid Ignite. In a nutshell, Avid Ignite makes our already best-in-class virtual learning even more powerful for attendees by adding space and support for customizing the experience with on-site or virtual activities at the district or site level. It also includes a new virtual learning session each day focused on helping you to experience and learn how to use the resources we have developed to support you in extending learning and inspiration in your classroom and in your district throughout the year. Before we delve into the details of Avid Ignite, let's step back a bit and talk about why we created it. So we know that times have changed since we first introduced virtual summer professional learning back in 2020. So we set forth this past year to learn from you, our partners, about how your needs have changed over time and what we could do to ensure that our summer virtual offering was addressing those needs. You spoke, we listened. One thing we learned is that you think Avid virtual professional learning is unlike any other virtual learning you have experienced. You like how it is live facilitated. It's not like typical virtual professional learning that is pre-recorded and perhaps a bit of sit and get, right? You also liked that our professional learning, just like our in-person learning, embeds the use of Avid strategies that we are teaching you to utilize in your classrooms. Lastly, you shared that you appreciate the opportunity to network and learn from peers across the nation in the many states that attend our summer professional learning. These were elements as we looked at creating a new solution we knew we needed to keep. You also gave us a lot of thoughtful feedback and food for thought of what we could do to improve. You told us that there was a need for more flexible training options after year one of implementation. So we designed a learning experience that's appropriate for various audiences, from individual attendees all the way through school groups. You also shared that while virtual professional learning, in many cases, the perfect fit due to learning preferences, timing, perhaps even budget, you would like to have the option of also including some in-person elements, and or maybe even localizing and customizing the event. And lastly, you shared that you needed easier to use resources for extending the learning and inspiration of that summer PL, that feeling that we get when we go to summer PL campus-wide. The school year community of practice that we had in past years, extended learning and office hours that were part of the professional learning, you told us that it really didn't conveniently and seamlessly integrate into your very busy day-to-day work schedules throughout that very busy school year. Adhering to the times that we were offering these opportunities was difficult, and therefore many of you were unable to take advantage of these additional synchronous experiences. So that was your feedback. In addition to what you all told us, we looked at what our own data tells us about the role of professional learning in successful Avid implementations. Our data shows that, number one, additional professional learning matters. We know educators are more likely to improve their knowledge and their use of research-based best practices if they've attended multiple Avid professional learning offerings where they actually experience and debrief the strategies as the learners themselves. And number two, Avid trained teachers are retained at greater rates than non-Avid trained teachers. And the effect is especially great for those new teachers. Most of us here have been new teachers at one time or another, and I know I would have loved to have had Avid training those first few years of teaching. And something tells me that perhaps those of you who have had some experience would have liked to have had that as well. So what does all this mean? It means that Avid sites that want to see impressive student outcomes that we are known for need to engage educators new to Avid or new to the profession itself in professional learning. It also means that districts and schools need to provide their existing Avid trained educators with opportunities to deepen and expand their learning. And we certainly understand that it might not be feasible to send educators annually to Summer Institute. And so that is why we made Avid Ignite as flexible and convenient as possible, so that it can be a tool that you draw upon each year alongside of other Avid professional learning opportunities. So giving you a little bit of background, Lori now is going to unpack Ignite for us a little bit more. Lori?
Thank you, Ellen, for helping explain the why behind creating Avid Ignite. We kept the amazing virtual communities of practice that you have told us that you love and added a new virtual session, all while making the schedule more compact as well as flexible, enabling you to have the option of adding local, district, or site activities if you wish. Now let's dig a little further into what Ignite actually is. Participants may choose from the same 33 communities of practice that are offered at Summer Institute. Each day after your community of practice content, you will join colleagues from your COP in a new virtual session where you will experience and learn how to use new resources that will support you in building your own educator agency and fostering collective agency on your campus. The focus will be on the role that you can play in extending the learning and inspiration of summer professional learning across the campus during the school year. After the new session, you have the option of spending an additional 30 minutes with the live facilitator to ask specific questions or have the facilitator help serve as a sounding board as you reflect on your learning and/or work on your plans for the year ahead. Open time before or after the virtual learning provides districts who have sent groups to Ignite the opportunity to gather in person or virtually for site planning and inspiration activities with colleagues. This is not mandatory. Participants who attend Ignite as individuals or whose districts or sites are not holding these optional complementary activities can also take that time to reflect on their learning and plan how they will use the resources to inspire and engage in their own campus community. Now let's take a look at what that Ignite 3-day schedule looks like. As you can see, each day has the basic same schedule. Each day, after the 4 hours of your content community of practice time and an extended break, the Ignite sessions continue your learning for an additional hour, followed by an optional 30 minutes of that optional support. Remember, districts have the option to provide opportunities to gather either before or after the times reflected on this standard Avid Ignite schedule. Ellen will be sharing some sample schedules in a little later in this presentation. So let's dive a little bit deeper into these 1-hour daily Ignite sessions and what they offer. Day 1 content focuses on inspiring your educator agency. During this facilitated synchronous time, through individual and collaborative activities, you will connect to your why and share and hear other stories of inspiration. You will also have time to explore many resources, such as a special curated video library, which contains inspirational stories from Avid students, Avid educators, and alumni. Additional resources contain planning templates and resource guides to help you inspire your students and your campus community. During this session, you will begin a plan of actions for inspiring your school community and reflect on what you would like to share with others. Now let's have a look at day 2. Day 2 content focuses on igniting your educator agency. In this session, you will explore Sparks, or our bite-sized presentations to extend learning on your campus. You will even experience a sample Spark as part of your own learning process. A Spark is a pre-made, bite-sized presentation to use within your classroom or beyond with other educators in your school or district. Sparks focus on those common Avid strategy, and each Spark includes a PowerPoint and a presentation guide. These are short 10 to 20-minute presentations intended to be shared throughout the school year to extend learning opportunities with both your students and other educators in your classroom, possibly in PLCs or staff meetings, in order to help promote these Avid strategies school-wide. Day 3 will focus on networking and energizing others. In this session, you will activate your educator agency by collaborating with other participants in your community of practice and utilizing your Avid Ignite learnings throughout your 3-day experience to finalize plans for the year ahead. You will reflect on your learning and continue to explore additional resources and strategies to use with your students and share out with your campus community. By the end of day 3, you will be equipped to potentially ignite a movement that has a positive impact on all students campus-wide. Now, Ellen is going to explain how Ignite's flexible schedule allows for optimal customization by districts or sites. Ellen?
Thanks, Lori, for unpacking Ignite a little bit for us. Great information. Amazing about thinking about perhaps igniting a movement. I love that phrase. As we mentioned earlier, based on participant feedback, we designed Ignite to be an excellent experience, whether attending as an individual, as a site team, or even as a district team. And we made the schedule more compact. What this does is it creates some space for individual attendees to plan and reflect, or for site or district teams to even gather for their own complementary activities if they wish. So this is really important to understand. There's something for you, whether you are an individual attending Ignite, whether you are part of a small group attending, or whether you are part of a really large district group. There is something powerful for everyone. So Lori talked a little bit about the schedule a few slides back. Let's have a look at an example of how a district sending, semi-large to large group of educators may wish to take advantage of that opportunity to customize and localize Ignite for their participants by creating some on-site activities. Now, please remember, this is an option for districts to consider. Depending on the start time, districts or schools can either have a grab and go breakfast, or maybe a larger breakfast, or a welcome session with a keynote to start the day, launch the day. After COP content time, there's a 30-minute extended break. So potentially that's time for maybe a group snack, maybe a brown bag lunch with grade levels or departments or teams, etc. That would be up to you. To continue customization after the inspiring, igniting, and activating time each day that Lori just unpacked for us a little bit, your team members can either take advantage of the additional 30-minute facilitated optional support time in their community of practice, and you can see that on the schedule, or team members can opt to do a walk and talk to do some debriefing and processing, or you could just move a group into some team building time, maybe some site team time, some planning time. You could even have student and educator speakers, and you can take advantage of the videos on Avid's YouTube for those student and educator videos, or you can have student and educator speakers from your own district or school. So please remember that customization depends on the start time that you choose from our 6 Ignite offerings this summer. And also remember that your customized activities can be in person in one location, or if your team members are participating in Ignite from various home locations, the activities can also be virtual. So you might be thinking, how am I going to plan for all this? Right? We've got you. Avid is providing a free digital guide to support sites and districts who are sending groups to Ignite and wish to customize and localize that Ignite experience. Now, this amazing resource is chock full of tips, guidance, and templates that will make the planning process easier and more efficient for you. So now you're probably wondering, first you're wondering, how am I going to do all this? Now you're probably wondering, when will this guide be available? It will be available, as you can see, on March 1st, just a short couple of weeks from today. The resources in this guide support sites or districts in preparing schedules, in thinking through logistics, and communicating to participants. We are sharing our many years of expertise and best practices in organizing and executing world-class events. So be sure to check, this is the name, the Event Customization, Preparation, and Logistics Guide for schedule options in addition to what was shared on the previous slide. Remember, site and district activities, as I said, can be face-to-face, or they can be held virtually. Now, here's another thing. They can be held during the flexible time that we saw on the schedule on the last slide, either before or after the COP content time, or designated synchronous Avid Ignite time, or on another date and time altogether. So you may feel that those 3 days of Avid Ignite, COP, and additional Ignite content are more than enough for your participants, and you may choose to use another day altogether. Could be that week, could be the end of the summer, during the school year. It's your choice, and you have all of these resources to help support in the planning. So don't forget to have a look when the link to the guide posts on the Ignite webpage 2 weeks on March 1st. So Lori, that was a lot of info. So how about you take the next slide and you sum it up for our participants?
Sounds good. Thanks, Ellen, for sharing that. I'm really excited about so many opportunities for customizing our own experience in our districts. So let's sum up the reasons why Ignite is a great option for you to use each year as part of your professional learning plan. First, it's a convenient way for sites in year 2 and beyond of Avid implementation to train new teachers and to deepen and expand learning for Avid trained teachers without the cost of in-person training. It's also a great fit for educators who simply prefer virtual learning. And lastly, it includes the same high quality, rich new learning and resources designed to help you customize and localize the learning experience at the site or district level. Plus, resources that will help you extend this learning across your campus throughout the school year. Again, like Ellen said earlier, you spoke and we listened, and we think we have developed some fantastic options for you. So at this time, I would like to transition to Evie, who will be talking with our special guest, Mary Ann Send.
Thank you so much, Ellen and Lori. That was really helpful. And now I would like to invite Mary Ann to share with us what makes her excited about Avid Ignite. Welcome, Mary Ann.
Hi, everybody.
Mary Ann, could you tell us a little bit about your district and your role?
Sure. So Mary Ann Send, I'm over in Irving ISD in Texas. And I've been with Irving for 14 years. I was an Avid teacher and then Avid coordinator for about 6 of those years. This is my 2nd year as the Avid district director, and I am learning so much. Right now, we do have 16 Avid campuses, with our first being Irving High School, which is our flagship school. They joined 15 years ago, 2008, right? What is time even anymore? But 15 years since we've joined Avid. Since then, we've gradually added all of our middle schools and of our high schools, so we are all secondary. We have about 1 each year. This year, we were able to include our 2nd collegiate academy that just opened, and also our very first elementary school.
Awesome. Since you will be using Avid Ignite this summer, can you tell us more about why you decided to use this virtual professional learning?
Sure thing. So having been to multiple Avid conferences, summer institutes training, you just know that they're going to bring the best class training all around, right? So you know that Avid Ignite is going to provide that high quality training. So with that in mind, I needed to consider what has to happen for Irving ISD. We have to align the work. We have to retain our teachers. We're all looking for our fabulous teachers. We need to get our teachers trained, and we have to do all of that within a budget. So really keeping in mind what has to happen for us. So being that we've had Avid for 15 years, there are still some misconceptions. So I want to bring that feeling of Summer Institute to Irving ISD. I want our teachers, I want our leadership and our support staff to hear the stories of our own colleagues and our own students, how Avid has impacted them. I want our site team to be able to have a greater reach as they go into those PLCs, and that ongoing learning and resources, those are going to support our team throughout the year. But this Ignite is really going to spark the fire with them.
Absolutely. Are you sending all your educators to Ignite, or are you sending some to a summer institute?
Well, we're super lucky to get to host Avid Summer Institute here in DFW. So definitely we'll be sending some people to Summer Institute. As a matter of fact, when I was talking to my team about our plan for Ignite, they said, but do we still get to go to Summer Institute? So definitely having that option for our teachers. is always on the table. There's nothing like an Avid Summer Institute. So just making sure that everything else that Avid Ignite is going to bring to the table just kind of offers us a little bit of leeway and support in that. So I'm also going to include any support staff, curriculum writers, department chairs to either attend Summer Institute or Ignite ahead of time so that we can really align and get together to support everyone throughout our district.
That makes a lot of sense. How do you see this complements your other professional learning?
So really partnering with curriculum and instruction is kind of the big goal and big vision with Ignite. So having our curriculum team and leadership involved, we'll be using those day 2 and day 3 to align with what's going on with them. So we're working closely with CNI to provide that vertical alignment. So they'll have day 2 to be able to connect our Irving ISD curriculum with that Avid support. And I'm super excited to hear that all of that's going to just kind of streamline into it. And we're going to be able to use everything we use in Ignite and just easily move it over. Those sparks, I am looking forward to those sparks. So that's going to be awesome. On day 3, we're actually going to work with our leadership to align those goals, our campus goals, our district goals, and really thinking about how Avid supports them to create and align all the goals.
I like that very much, Marianne. Can you tell us how will Avid Ignite look on your campus? And specifically, will you be incorporating any in-person engagement activities?
Definitely. What would Avid training be without engagement activities? So the big vision is to bring that Avid Summer Institute experience, excitement to Irving ISD, and really thinking about how Summer Institute is organized and that impactful part of the general session. So who can come speak? What can happen on our own campuses? So I've requested Jonathan Brown as our keynote speaker, and I'm going to work with our campus coordinators to really think about some students that have a story to share. Right now, we have about 2 teachers that have incredible stories and passions for Avid that have gone through Avid as students, tutors, and now teachers. And so all of that, we want to make sure that that happens on our campus. Another big hit that we've seen in trainings are including students to come into classrooms and showing their binders, showing their planners, really showing teachers what is going on campuses, on our own campuses with our own students. So helping them understand how that all works. I still need to figure and iron that out a little bit, but it'll happen. So students can also act as ambassadors. So we'll be inviting students to volunteer, to really get teachers pumped up as they walk in, and also just kind of be around just to help and support teachers throughout the training.
I love that. A beautiful mix of inspiring and practical activities. What are some other considerations when planning Ignite on your campus?
I love Avid for teaching me backward mapping. So really thinking about what needs to be done now to plan for that is super important. Checking your pantry and thinking about what are some things that are happening within my district already, what's happening on our campuses already that we want to go ahead and align with Avid and show how Avid can really support that. So collaborating with leaders, pulling all your resources together, really considering what additional training may need to happen. For example, as I'm working with my CNI team, I do want to send them for training ahead of time for any updates before they're able to talk with everyone at Ignite. And then really thinking about the kiddos. They're the best advocates for Avid. So how do you ensure keeping in touch with them now for summer, whenever you're going to host your Ignite session?
I love all of these ideas.
Mhm.
One of the benefits of Ignite is that you will get capacity to expand the learning on your campus. How do you see that impacting your district?
With all of the resources and feedback that Avid has taken, I'm really looking forward to how that's all going to be updated to be used, just quickly. So that's super exciting. It's the most exciting part because the way it'll work for our district is we want to host Avid Ignite around that August period, which is that week right before teachers come back from summer. So really giving them a chance to get into the thinking and learning before they have to go really put it together in their mind. So because it happens just 1 week before we return to school, they'll be on fire, they'll want to connect what they learned right after Summer Institute. I know I want to share with the world. And everyone's like, I'm on summer vacation. So this is just perfectly aligned for that. Avid also has that support all year long. So using those tools, those resources, that teachers, they're going to be able to collaborate more efficiently and just really streamline it. It'll be right at the forefront of their mind. So my goal for teachers and leaders is to understand that Avid is not just another thing on the plate, that Avid is the plate, right? That's what we do. It's what we do as educators. So I'm super excited to see what the impact will be.
Absolutely. I'm curious, what will your site team be focused on during your time together?
So Avid already has incredible site team materials that we go and grab from all the time. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're updating and providing with through Ignite now. I'm telling you, just hearing about those sparks and everything that's going to happen is super, super exciting. So my plan is to use day 2 for site teams to work across the district vertically and really align that urban ISD curriculum again with that Avid support. And then day 3 to focus on those district goals with leadership. So really thinking about how district goals, campus site teams are going to be able to really move forward with the plans that they have as an entire team. So moving on to the week after, those site teams then again have everything at the forefront and they're able to really move and push forward within that PLC with implementing those goals.
These are all great areas to focus on. Marianne, do you know how many educators you're planning to send to Avid Ignite this year?
Yes, so right now we do have about room for about 100 people within our budget. So this includes our coordinators. They've been to multiple Avid trainings, but again, like I said, they're can we still go to Summer Institute? Can we still be a part of everything? Yes, yes, yes. So we're making sure that they are set up to be able to support through the communities of practice that they need for their campus. So for example, our ELAR department might need more support, so our coordinator would go to the ELAR training in order to be able to bring back those updated research-based practices. But I'm also sending some curriculum writers, as I stated, just kind of thinking about what trainings need to happen. 100 people is just the starting number though. So really that collaboration piece is super important. Working with our principals to think about who they would also like to send from their campuses. So really thinking about how we can get those numbers pretty big by supporting and our student success through the campuses, getting those principals involved. Who are we going to send?
That's terrific. I'm curious, what are you most looking forward to when thinking about attending Avid Ignite?
Same things that I look forward to with Summer Institute, the passion, the excitement, the learning, the teaching. So I'm really excited to see how teachers are going to take that learning right out of the gate into the next school year. I'm really excited to see how those resources are going to be able to be used. And then all year long, being able to go right to them and use those resources again as that Avid plate. I'm looking forward to seeing how that collaboration and discussion will look in the PLCs, just to move everybody to the next level and really support our students.
Thank you so much for sharing, Marianne. I appreciate your words and your time today.
Yes, ma'am.
And now we would like to give you the opportunity to ask questions you may have about Avid Ignite to our terrific product leads, Alan and Lori, and to our special guest, Marianne. Please continue to add your questions to the Q&A area at the bottom of your screen. And now I would like to get us started with our first question, which is, will we receive a copy of this slide deck? Absolutely. We will be sending a follow-up email, which will contain the copy of the slide deck and also additional resources and the recording of this webinar. So please be on the lookout for that email in the next few coming days. Another question that came in is, are these sessions only offered during the summer, or will they be available throughout the school year as well?
I'll go ahead and take that one if you don't mind. The Ignite content is only offered during our summer professional learning events. So we have scheduled 6 national event dates for that. The special Ignite content is only included in these 3-day Ignite sessions in the summer. So just wanted to point that out, all of these resources. The event guide is available to everybody, and I think Ellen can follow up on that in a little bit. So, but yes, the Ignite is really only offered this summer. We do have some other options for year-round professional learning, and that would be in our Elevate virtual professional learning.
Thank you, Lori. Another question is, can this training be done over 2 days rather than 3?
Okay, I'll take this one, Evie. Thanks. Before I answer the question, Marianne, I just want to say, like, what an amazing job you're doing with Ignite. It's so exciting to, like, for Lori and I as the product owners to see this like come to life in a district and have you explain what you're going to be doing. So thank you so much for sharing that. As far as can this training be done over 2 days rather than 3? Ignite is a summer experience that is a 3-day scheduled experience. We have 6 scheduled, and you can find those on our Avid Ignite webpage on avid.org. And it's only a 3-day event. If you would like a 2-day event, Lori mentioned Elevate. So you could get the COP, the community of practice content, choose from one of those 33 communities of practice. You can get that content during the 2-day Elevate, but you will not receive the additional Avid Ignite information. Now, as Lori had said, you will be able to receive the planning guide, right? The customization guide. And in that customization guide, if you have you are a partner and you have a My Avid account, you will be able to have access to that. But what you won't be able to have access to are all those other wonderful resources that were talked about as Lori was unpacking the 3-day experience. An example of that are the Sparks. So you would not be able to get any of that, but you can get the community of practice content during an Elevate session. But as far as Ignite, it is only a 3-day offering and only in the summer, as Lori said.
Thank you, Ellen. Another question is, I work for an online school. Will there be sessions focused on teaching virtual Avid lessons?
Sure. So our COP content is designed to be used in all kinds of different classrooms, regardless of if you're teaching face-to-face or virtual. So with very little changes, you could take that content and directly apply them directly into the classrooms, regardless of how your classroom is designed. So whether it's a hybrid or that face-to-face or completely virtual, all of our lessons and the things that you will learn in our professional learning are applicable to those situations.
Thank you, Lori. Another question that came in is, Ignite was a consideration for an in-district PD at the beginning of the year in August. As I understand your explanation, we can only participate on the days you have preset.
Okay. Yes, as Summer Institute, Avid Ignite is a summer experience with preset dates. And so if you would like to attend Ignite, you need to attend during one of those 6 offerings of the preset dates. If you care to do some in-district professional learning at the beginning of the year, that is our 2-day Elevate option, or Path to School-wide option as well, face-to-face. You have an option of a 2-day face-to-face or virtual.
Thank you, Ellen. Another question that I believe is for Marianne is, how did you get approval to host Ignite in your district?
Yes, so again, that collaboration is going to be key. What our district does at the beginning of the year is they do open it up to kind of PD to everyone to say, hey, we're hosting PD, inside PD, outside PD. And so with this wonderful Ignite that came up, it just kind of came up and I said, this is perfect. So I brought it to the table and really talked them through it, what it would look like, and really having that communication and collaboration so they could see that this is valuable, wonderful, fabulous PD. We've used it for 15 years, right? So, hey, let's do it. Let's kick it off this way. And so they're really excited about it as well.
Another question, Marianne, how did you determine location of the on-site gathering for Ignite?
So really having a conversation with my team about location, where would it work, which high school would it work best at, was really where our heads were. We want it to be on our campuses. We want it to be with our students, with our teachers. And so we said, why not the very first school that we began Avid in? And so we'll be hosting at Irving High School in Irving, Texas. So really kicking it off and celebrating those 15 years and where Ignite is going to move us forward.
Thank you, Marianne. Another question is, how long do we have access to the resources that you are sharing?
I can take that one. That's an easy one. You will have access to all community of practice resources until May 31st, 2024.
Right,
So
thank
just to
you.
kind of follow up on that as well, is that the resources will be in that community of practice course. And so not only will you have the access to the Ignite resources, but also your community of practice resources available until that date.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Another interesting question here. Will we be able to see examples of some of the sparks that you referenced in the presentation, and any ideas about how to use these with the campus, with my campus community?
Yeah, absolutely. We will be offering a follow-up webinar on March 15th. So be sure to register and attend that next Avid Ignite webinar, where we'll be doing a deeper dive into some of these resources.
Thank you. And one more question here for, I believe, Marianne. How will you get student and teacher volunteers to support your August Ignite event?
Definitely. So every year we do encourage our students to apply and sign up for the Avid speaker contest. So that's one way that they're already kind of trained and they've written their essays. So really having our teachers look through that and see, ask any students if they'd like to share is the first step to do. So that's the first one to go with. And then just as we talk to our coordinators and teachers about our students, they have incredible stories to tell. So just giving them the ideas of this is going to share, you share this with everybody in the district. They'll get to hear your story and you get to help ignite the passion for our teachers, for this whole next year. Yeah, so really looking forward to working with our students in that capacity. And then teachers are just amazing and incredible. I do have two in mind, our two that went through as Avid students, tutors, teachers, and now one is our college and career coach. So really asking them first and then opening up the volunteer to everybody else.
Evie, can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so thanks, Mary Ann. And I just want to let everybody know that when you check into the event customization, preparation, and logistics guide, that there is a whole section on how to recruit students to talk and how to recruit educators to talk. And it gives you lots of guidelines and like kind of a step-by-step. So so make sure you check into that customization guide on March 1st.
Thank you for that, Ellen. And it looks like we are almost at time for today. We are at time for today. Thank you so much for joining us today and for all your great questions. And a big thanks to our experts, Alan and Lori, and our terrific guest, Marianne. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to your program manager or regional admin. In the coming days, we will send you an email with the recording of the webinar and also additional resources. Thank you again.